Let's talk a little about Project Helios. It's a project spearheaded by Professor Mornier to eventually replace the reactor drive with another core that runs on renewable energy. This is important for the future of Lahai-Roi because the exoswarm that's meant to restore the exostrider at the end of their life cycle are being corrupted by void matter. And that means there's less energy being brought back to the exostrider than there is being brought out. To put it simply, the exostrider is operating at a loss. There are also environmental concerns because if the reactor drive actually does run out of power, all of Lahai-Roi will basically fall into an ice age and everyone inside the region will perish in the cold dark. The sooner the exostrider gets up and running, the better for everyone involved, and that involves installing the reactor drive back to the exostrider. To do this, we need three things: Helios itself, Hypatia, and the heliojire. Helios is easily understandable. It's a replacement artificial sun that runs on renewable energy. Unfortunately, the game doesn't exactly tell us how it runs specifically, only that it's able to. Hypatia and the heliojire though, that's a little complicated because if we're talking about Hypatia, we also have to talk about the reactor husk, and that means we also have to talk about what the reactor drive actually is. So let's start with that. Aside from providing life to Lahai-Roi, what other functions does it have? Being a construct of the exostrider, it's able to scan for signs of the Phenodian. As we know, this takes in the form of void matter, seeping through the earth, corrupting the exoswarm. When it detects corrupted exoswarm, obviously something's gonna have to deal with it. That is the reactor husk's job. You can think of it as like a extremely aggressive white blood cell. It'll go down from the reactor drive, eliminate whatever is bothering Lahai-Roi, and climb back to the drive until the next detection. What does this have to do with Hypatia though? Hypatia's core function is to be able to read how the reactor drive is doing at all times and make adjustments to make sure that the husk isn't activated. That just leaves the heliojire. What does it do though? The heliojire, like the reactor drive, is a component of the exostrider. If the drive is the heart, then the heliojire is the lens. The Roians use this thing to observe the reactor drive, which is how they're able to locate the position of future void storms, as well as its position in orbit. But not just anyone can use the heliojire. One must be born with the ability to resonate with it, kinda like how only certain people are able to become synchronists. Check the other video. However, just having one guy do the resonating is too much of a burden, leading to quick deaths, which is why there are 3 pairs, so 6 people, in charge of the heliojire. Each pair is entrusted with a job: observation, archival, and extrapolation. The resonators who are able to do this are named the heliotic 6. The calculations, as in the data needed to be inputted in Helios, is so that the heliotic 6 can interface with Helios just like they did with the reactor drive. Without it, the Roians are blind to the happenings in Lahai-Roi. This means no more void storm predictions, which gives Aleph 1 an advantage. So to recap, Helios is an artificial sun made to replace the reactor drive to get the exostrider up and running as soon as possible, as well as counter potential environmental issues if it runs out of power and shuts down. Hypatia is required to ensure that the reactor husk doesn't freak out at any point during the sun changing process, because by all accounts, as angry as it could be, it's still a machine and machines can be lied to. The heliojire is needed so that the Roians are able to forward information obtained from Helios to Space Trek Collective, just like the reactor drive. This video came out late because I was playing Enfield and busy being employed. Please subscribe. Thank you.